the White House is looking to help people diversify from the traditional stock and bond portfolio, have access to alternative assets. I've heard they want people to have more upside and they want folks to just have, democratize this access by allowing folks to invest with their 401k in things such as private equity, crypto, and real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Seems a pretty big deal. You think it's a big deal for real estate?
I think it is the beginning of potentially a very big deal.
Oh,
and yeah, nice edge. I mean, prior to this, part of the things that we do on this show is help people beyond the so-called restrictions that people think about creating wealth. And one of those restrictions is people have just assumed that the only things they can invest in their 401k in are stocks and bonds. And so this would potentially open up to a lot of different things beyond stocks and bonds. And I think even just changing that narrative to only stocks and bonds to something beyond it is an interesting conversation and something that could have a lot of positives, could have some cons as well.
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the language, democratization. I know that there's some stuff in there talking about kind of like giving people that are not just accredited investors access to these kinds of assets. I think that that's a really cool idea. I think the idea of opening up the aperture to put these other investment types like real estate on par with stocks and bonds and, like habitualizing people to see them as retirement vehicles, not just as hobbies or, something that you do once you have this other stuff figured out kind of thing, right? Like, I like that stuff. To me, the catch is that they are still making it something that has to be like a fun kind of thing, right? Like it doesn't feel like there's like direct access to this type of stuff. You're not going to just be able to log into your 401k and buy a rental property, for example, right? Like it feels to me that it is pushing it more towards the same, and I think it's necessary, right? To like kind of like start as not too far. But it's still kind of like a lot of what I read in it is focused in a way so that now a fund manager can also get some kind of like cut off of this thing going into a portfolio assets under management kind of model that they see. And I don't get the sense that, like, I feel like it's really tailored towards private equity and crypto because that's pretty easy to do there, less so tailored towards real estate. And if the goal here is to give people access to things with upside, you should also give them access to things to upside that have the best risk mitigation, which I think is real estate. What do you think about that? Is that too much?
Well, I'm trying to understand, like, would you say that this is generally a good thing, but not an ideal thing, or is this a bad thing in your opinion?
I don't know if I'd go as far as to think that this is a bad thing. I would love for this to have led the way with real estate. If you think about the number one asset class that drives wealth in America, if you think about what I think is one of the safest things to hold over a long time, it's real estate. So, if I wanted to like change the system and open stuff up, I would change the system and engineer it towards the thing that has the most track record and the most history and the most success for the most folks. While it seems to me that the thing that it got opened up to is like crypto and private equity and kind of like a little bit of like same old stuff, but with more risk and more kind of like more wild card under the flag of diversity.
Yeah, I think those are getting the headlines of it, but the benefits of real estate that you're talking about, while it can't be done through a buying turnkey owning single family rental properties, which gives you that control that you're talking about. You don't have to pay things like asset management fees. Like what we have is sort of special. And this is what we have cannot be tapped into what this executive order is. However, but real estate can be tapped into through the form of private equity and through some of these structures. So if you're searching for a better asset to invest in, now there's more risky real estate and there's quote unquote less risky real estate. So if you're looking for something to do, let's just say it's you and you're looking for your 401k with what to do and you want to get into real estate and you have no clue that the Not Your Average Investor show exists and that you can actually buy turnkey rental properties in your retirement accounts, you could look at this and say, well, you know what, at least that individual now can invest their 401k in private equity where the underlying asset is real estate, which might be a positive and certainly is a positive if the goal is diversification and the goal is an asset class that historically is consistent and reliable.